Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is the March 22nd, 2018 Town Board meeting. Have a special guest here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's Girl Scout Troop 10002. Could we all please rise and they lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while we have them here, I'd just like to introduce them. Thank you, girls, for coming. Can you just state your name?
Daniela Barone.
Avery Foley. Gianna Deli Carpini.
Kylie Irwin.
Thank you, girls. Everybody, a round of applause for them. Thank you. And we have another treat. We have Joe Sullivan, and he's the president of Hopewell Depot. They're here to give a presentation to the town. Joe?
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
What a beautiful spring day. Shoveling snow in this morning and working in the garden in the afternoon. Isn't that unusual and great? Before we get to the main topic, I'd like to just give you a little bit of news about the depot, what's going on. First, through the hard work of Linda Heitman, one of our board members, we now have our provisional charter under the New York State Regents, and now can officially call ourselves a museum, officially and legally call ourselves a museum. And we can also now, we're eligible to apply for a lot of New York State grants. So that was a good news for us this year. The second item, I'd like to make you all aware that we'll be starting construction of our new pavilion in a few weeks, probably early April. Funding's in place, all the bureaucratic stuff is done, most of it's, I think there's one little piece that we got to close, and the county has completed clearing trees in the area for us. So we're all ready to go. Within a couple of weeks, we're going to start building a very nice 20-foot by 40-foot pavilion just to the south side of the tower there, help enhance that depot park. The Hopewell Depot Museum commissioned Daisy to do an updated painting of the restored depot about a year ago to include both a replica of the interlocking tower and the whole area around the depot. And that's completed. And in recognition for the support we've received from the town of East Fishkill, would like to dedicate and present Daisy's painting to the board to start your historic building picture project. I think you wanted to start pictures. Well, we'll be the first one, Nick.
Thank you, Joe.
And as a tribute to Depot's founding father, Bernie Rudberg. So, Daisy, if you want to, you're going to want to unveil it? Okay. Thank you, Nick, and for the town.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Mrs. Depiada, for the painting. This is wonderful, and we are very proud of it. We're going to be positioning it when you walk into the town hall, right on the wall, and Bernie would be proud, and he's so missed. So thank you all again. Okay, I just have a few announcements before we begin. It's been a busy month, to say the least. We hosted a meeting here for the Dutchess County Transportation Council early on in the month. They gave an overview of their department. They also were to host a meeting at Locust Grove in Poughkeepsie, but they had to cancel because of the storms that week. East Fishkill has 1.5 projects, I like to say, to be approved by the Transportation Council. The first is the Carroll Drive Bridge replacement, and the second is a road paving resurfacing project from Route 216 off of 52 all the way to Route 55. And it goes into the town of Beekman. So that includes East Fishkill and the town of Beekman for that project. They emailed me that they will be voting by proxy, which I have done. They sent it to me, and we have been approved. The town engineer will give a presentation at our next workshop to the board about the bridge project. So that's exciting. I mentioned at the last workshop meeting about all the snowstorms that we've been going through, and I especially like to thank our Highway Superintendent, Ken Williams, which is here, and his crew, our police department, the dispatchers there, our fire department, emergency responders. You all guys do such a great job, and, you know, you have a hard job, and, you know, when it's bad weather, it just makes it that much harder. So a big thank you to all of you. You do a great job. And because of the storms, a lot of residents have called that they want the brush drop-off to be open. Well, I've been advertising it on Channel 22, our website, the Facebook pages. It started yesterday. It will be for 2 weeks. It goes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. A lot of people called and asked that if we did brush pickup, and that's a little cost prohibited. Last time we did a brush pickup, it cost the taxpayers about $880,000. I think that's right, Mark? So, we really can't afford to put those resources there right now. The board's trying to put whatever extra dollars we have towards road paving. So, I'm sorry about that, but brush drop-off is open, and it's down Lime Kiln Road where we usually have it. On February 28th, I attended the State of the County address up at the Culinary in Hyde Park. The county executive gave a great speech. He outlined his plan, for the year, and I was kind of listening for what he had for economic development that could benefit our town. And he had a few things that East Fishkill could join in on, so I've set up a meeting with him to discuss some of those things with him later in the month. I met myself and our fire chief and our engineer with Chief Renahan from the Global Foundries Fire Department. To discuss compliance and safety at their site. They have a very impressive operation there. They go above and beyond what is required by the state laws, and our inspectors are going to be working together with them to make sure that we're all on the same page and to check up on things when we need to, but we're fortunate that they really know what they're doing. I've been meeting with many business owners about our new Business and Economic Committee and what we could do to help them and start this economic committee that we're going to be implementing tonight. I'm thankful to them, and I'm looking forward to being a good partner with them to town. On Tuesday night, March 6th, I attended the monthly Dutchess County Mayors and Supervisors Association meeting. They had a guest speaker, was Ron Hicks. He is the Deputy County Executive. He discussed tax pilots. And, tax pilots, how they can be crafted to benefit municipalities. Because what they actually are is most people think that a tax pilot is a tax break, which isn't true. The tax pilot is a way for commercial property owners and municipalities to agree to amount for budgeting purposes. So he described how this can help a municipality, and we were thankful to that. He gave some good information. After that, we have open discussion with the mayors and supervisors, and I brought up the county sales tax situation, how I'm not too happy with the current contract that the county has with the cities of Beacon and Poughkeepsie. And a couple years ago, we got capped at the amount of sales tax that we would get. So it doesn't sit well with myself and the board and other mayors and supervisors. So we discussed ways how the county executive could possibly give some of those dollars back to us. We discussed possibly paving, and because of this, the county executive reached out to us, and we're going to be meeting with him next Wednesday. On Monday the 12th, I met with Assemblyman Lawler. I missed that meeting earlier, but I met with him to discuss water issues and some other issues in town. The Assemblyman is going to set up a future meeting with several other elected officials, neighboring towns, to help us on some issues that we all share upon. I spoke with him about the Lake City water situation and how we would like to possibly start a water district there, but the problem, of course, is infrastructure costs. So he's going to be looking into some things. Maybe he can help us out there, which is great. Also on Monday at 5 p.m., that Monday, we had a community meeting for the EPA water line going down Route 82. Thank you to the board for attending that, and all the residents who came out to hear the presentation. It's a huge project, and the construction company wants to have constant communication with the town and its residents. There's going to be some disruption, there's going to be traffic problems. It's just the nature of the beast, but they want to let us know when there will be closings, where the road closings will be, and we will be sure to put them on Channel 22, our Facebook pages, our website, whatever we can. On Wednesday, the 14th, I attended a Math Recognition Awards at Van Wyck Junior High. It was a nice event. There was over 60 children to receive awards, and over about 150 people attended. I gave a small speech, several other elected officials did also. Dr. Miller, who runs the math program, he was great. He said that the math scores throughout the district have been improving, which is excellent. On Thursday night, the 15th, East Fishkill, we hosted here, CAPE, Council on Addiction Prevention and Education. They had a forum to discuss problems with prevention and addiction, and also afterwards they had a Narcan training demonstration. It was very well attended. We had a great panel of speakers, and special thanks to our police chief, Kevin Keefe. He sits on the council, and of course Elaine Trumpetto. She's the director of CAPE. She's wonderful. She really knows her stuff. She gave a great presentation here, so thank you to all. This past Tuesday morning, I attended the annual agricultural breakfast hosted by Dutchess County Cornell Cooperative Extension up in Millbrook. It was early, I think 7 or 7:30. It was a great event. I sat with our local farmers. The breakfast was really good. The Deputy County Executive, Ron Hicks, yeah, it was very good, actually. Deputy County Executive Ron Hicks, he was the guest speaker there. He discussed how economics in the county help with farming and economics, and it was really interesting. And they gave out these awards called the Tractor Awards they give every year, which is really nice, to farmers and people who help farmers, and it was just a great event. Today, Councilman Marinaro and I attended the police department supervisors meeting. It was, it's very good that we meet with them once a month. We get a good rapport with our police leaders, and we discussed our goals, short-term goals, and immediate concerns and other things. We're blessed to have such a diligent department. I've contacted the regional director for the DEC. I told her about the Hillside Lake project, and that we're going to be having some changes. We're going to have a meeting with them to have a full discussion about water quality, dam safety, permitting, everything we need to know about moving forward for the project and for the grants. She was very, very helpful, which was great. And I'd like to thank Senator Sue Serino's office for helping me with the contact over there. But that was a few things I've been doing this past month. And with that, Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilperson Cassidy?
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro?
Present.
Councilperson Franco?
Present.
Supervisor D'Alessandro?
Present. Thank you. Okay, everybody received the February 22nd, 2018 minutes? Right? Any
Yes.
changes, additions, subtractions, deletions?
No, I have no changes
None?
to the, no. I
Thank
do
you,
not.
Clerk. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of February 22nd, 2018?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, announcement, additions to the agenda. There are no additions to the agenda. Right now is courtesy of the floor. Courtesy of the floor is a time period where anybody could come up to discuss anything on the agenda that you'd like, or any other issue in the town that may concern you, and we're here to answer if we can, and listen to you. So,
Good evening.
Mr. Grasso?
So I watched the workshop meeting, and it was mentioned that about filling the vacancy for the council member.
Yes.
I wish that some names were put out there so that we could have did a little bit more homework on who, we could have had some input on tonight, because I think tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, but is tonight the night that you guys are gonna vote on who's gonna fill that vacancy?
Yes.
It is. So,
Bob, you could have just checked on Facebook.
Huh?
You could have just checked on Facebook. They were out
I don't
there.
know nothing about Facebook or, yeah, I don't do any of that stuff. I come here to try and get my, but I want to say that I think it would have been a good idea to present to the people as to who might have put their name in the hat, so that we could have did our homework. And I do know that there was somebody interested in that I believe put their name in, and I don't know if I'm saying their name correctly, but I think it was Ed Slashauer,
Okay?
who I personally think would be very good for this town council.
Okay.
Just my opinion. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Good morning, good evening.
Hi, Steve.
Steve Siriano. Similar topic is where I kind of have a problem with a resolution that has a blank in it. All the other resolutions give me information. I agree, there was no information put out there. What happens should you decide to vote on this resolution tonight is a surprise. You know, I've looked at this from a lot of different scenarios, okay? And I understand it might be under your umbrella to do such, okay? But the fact is that when you look at our government or look at your board and the 4 people of you that are up there, everyone in this room had the opportunity to vote for you or to vote against you, okay? It's our privilege. The entire town had the opportunity to vote for or against you. By having 4 members on the board, I understand there could be a stalemate. I understand that fully. You know what? As well as it could go 3-1, it could go 4-0. All right? And let's say that you were voting on a resolution that I was against. Okay? The mere fact that I voted for each and every one of you, that's my problem. I voted. Okay? By introducing this 5th person that I didn't vote on, that could be a decision maker. Okay? And that's my problem because we didn't get the opportunity to vote on that person. So if, you know, and I've looked at this from a lot of different scenarios, and every scenario tells me either you should have put out names or you should leave it status quo. Okay? Because what happens is I think it's a disservice to the community, and I understand you can appoint people to other boards. That's fine. That's not this case. You're appointing somebody to your own board. We have no say in what that is. So if you'd like my opinion, I think it should be left blank. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I comment?
Well, I'll just make a few comments, so thank you. Just so everybody knows that this board seat is for the town board to fill, not to go any further than that, to go a little further than that. This seat also will be up for election this November, and then up for re-election in the November following, because this election is a special election to fill the empty seat, and then the subsequent election is to fill the, the term is over for that seat. So that's when it would be naturally up. So whoever is appointed will only be here till the end of the year. And if they are voted in by the people, then they continue. If not, then there'll be somebody else, just to clarify. So who else? Yes.
Until then, if a resolution comes up.
Hi, Mary Ellen Smolinski. I too am going to comment about filling the town board seat, and the fact that I don't know who is available. At least I think I know, because I all of a sudden see a couple of people showing up to these meetings. But other than that, unless we get a resume of sorts and a description of their qualifications, I'd just like to know what they are and who they are before you make a vote on who you decide you think you'd like to put in that seat. Just as an observation for myself, I see that board that we have right now, like the previous gentleman said, elected. Whatever party you are, it was because you were elected to do that. right now, unless we have a board that's going to represent all the people of East Fishkill in any diversified way, I just think that we can't have everybody all from the same party, and we can't have we have to, unless you're going to leave the seat empty and run some kind of primary or election of some sort, why not leave the seat open? If you put somebody and you handpick somebody and you put them in there, and half the town or most of the town doesn't care for it, that person gets exposure to, to the town. And as you know, when somebody gets in front of a camera or gets to be familiar with, their face gets familiar, it doesn't necessarily I don't think necessarily we know what your politics are, just because you sit up there and you were handpicked to be there. Even if you're a Republican, even if you're a Democrat, even if you're an NOP, whatever it is, I think that we should be able to know who you're putting up there, what their resume, what their standards are they taxpayers, how long have they lived here, just those simple little things. Young, old, what are your standards for picking somebody? And how come we don't know who they are? Because I think I asked the last meeting, you said you had 4 or 5 or 6 candidates that were interested in, people that were interested in filling the seat. I thought maybe at the workshop you were going to tell us who they were, and maybe, like you said, we could do some homework on that, and find out what it is. But if it's just going to be, I think you have 3 Republicans up there and a conservative. I mean, our Democratic Party isn't represented, and non-parties or independent parties aren't represented. So just as a thought, I would like to see some diversity as far as parties and people that represent us and fight for what we're looking to accomplish in the town. Thanks.
Thank you. I just want to add, with all due respect, we have done, everybody, we have done our due diligence on this matter. Make no mistake about that. How many interviews did we conduct? We did several rounds.
Yeah, we did 2 rounds, 8
None of
interviews.
us, we did not agree, all of us, on a candidate. We had to go back, we compromised, we tried to compromise, and then we whittled it down to 2 people. And we had a second round of interviews. We're not taking this lightly. We're not taking this politically.
Well,
Granted, this
can you tell
is-
us who they are, the 2?
Well, it was all over Facebook, and originally the
Oh, I'm
intent was...
sorry,
I know, but I'm just
don't
saying, originally
sit there,
the
but-
intent of this was to keep everybody's name anonymous, correct?
That's why we have executive session. It's supposed to be,
It's supposed to be anonymous, and this falls within our purview of the town board for this. And again, and I agree with you, yes, they would get some exposure, but the town will be able to vote on whoever it is that we appoint in November. So the town is not being left out of this, but this does fall within our purview. Am I correct with that, Tom?
Tom, with all due respect, if I may interject, even though they were supposed to be anonymous, there were people in town hall that they knew the name of the candidates, that had presented their names to be
And that wasn't right.
appointed.
that's
To
right.
be appointed before me and the supervisor knew about it. So with all due respect, your information that you're giving to the community tonight is wrong.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Town supervisor,
All right.
did you and I know who the names of the initial people were? Did we find out later when I contacted you that somebody already placed those names on Facebook?
What, the
was one
first
name.
round? At the
Yes.
first round, yeah,
Yes.
there was
There
one
was
name.
one
that
name.
came
And it
up.
was
That
a
was
Republican,
incorrectly,
and it was a
wasn't right.
Republican
And we all
committed
agreed on that.
person.
Yeah, and we all agreed
And it
that
was a
was not
person that works
correct.
in town hall, and me, the supervisor and I, we had a meeting with that person and the town lawyer to address this. So whoever is putting the information out there,
Fishkill Now, or East Fishkill Now. put it
whoever
out.
is putting the information out there, that you saying that, apparently was put out there from day one, prior to the initiation of the whole process.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's let the public speak. Thank you.
Mary Ann Lacy, just on that comment about filling the seat, in voting for each one of you, I expect that all 4 of you will vote on the candidates that you have in front of you and make the decision the way you make all the other decisions we entrust you with. But tonight I'm here because I want to give to you, Supervisor, a letter of concern. I think it is disgraceful for any elected town board member to go on camera and discuss any other town board member or any town business.
You have a copy for the clerk, please? Have this receipt and filed then, Tom, is that the procedure?
Yeah, put it into.
Okay, thank you.
So we all know what the letter's
Yeah,
all
I'll
about?
have the copies if you want to read it, or...
It's an extra one.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been here, and my name's Felicia Walker, or otherwise known as Worley Homes. And
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? How was the holiday? How's everything? Everybody finished with the snow? Yeah. Just trying to get an update on where we are in terms of Worley Homes. And I apologize if that information has already been made public, but have not been able to attend the meetings and stay current. Just want to see where we are in terms of getting to the hearing, and if we're still in the running for the grant money from WIA. So,
Well, I've discussed the grants with our planner, and she's looking into them, but the status of the project is we're in the middle of the map plan and report, and can the engineer expand upon that?
Yeah, we did a site visit in February to view the facilities. We had developed, a list of questions that we're still waiting for responses to, so we can figure out exactly, what improvements that we maybe haven't already anticipated, might be. And particularly, we met with the health department to review what additional testing might be required in the interim and what the expenses might be associated with that. There is, transite pipe in the ground, and there is certain requirements. I think every 9 years it has to be tested, and it's due up in 2 years. 21, or about 3 years, but we want to make sure the health department's not going to now make us test the minute we take over, because obviously if they come back negative, that's another large problem for us. So we're in the middle of really our due diligence period, trying to track down what all the loose ends might be, and waiting for some answers back from the owner. And we've started the map plan report, a draft version of that, but we're still gathering information so we can finalize that.
in the proposal, and it was, just a proposal, are we anywhere, have any kind of timeline in terms of when there would be a public hearing? Or are we looking at months, or are we middle of the calendar year?
Hopefully May.
Hopefully May, yeah. We were discussing that. We have a couple ways to get to you with the water, and we're trying to work that out right now. What's the best route?
Okay, in terms of getting to May, where does that leave us still in contention for applying for a grant?
Yeah, end of June are deadlines for the grants.
The June, okay. I know you guys are good.
No, we'll be applying regardless. Just
okay.
because the map plan report hearing won't happen until May, we're still going to be applying for those grants regardless.
All right, and I heard some wonderful words. I heard the P word, paving, so...
Well, we'll be having our highway superintendents coming into our next workshop to discuss how we're looking with our budgets and see if we could add to our paving this year.
Okay,
hopefully we can.
Well, again, I know it's kind of hand in hand. We're trying to, it's the water district as that moves along, because the roads in Worley Homes are now becoming a bicycle path. So hopefully, yeah, it really
I understand.
And a really unattractive bicycle path, I might add. So so we're looking at June. I'm sorry, May?
May, that's our
May.
target date for public hearing.
Target date for public hearing. Okay. And lastly, Nick, there are some homeowners that would like to, sit down and talk to you about some secondary concerns.
Sure.
Regarding, the property around the area and some other things.
problem.
So we can set that up with Gina?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just, Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
I just briefly read this statement that was given to the town lawyer, and I see that this is erroneous. That video did not take place on that date. Okay, that video was of November 8th, day after election. And
Okay,
there
so
was a
there's wrong
general comment,
information.
and there was a general comment made at the time regarding the importance of that seat. And the statement made by myself, it was that you and I had spoken about this the same day, the same morning after election. And we came to the understanding that the town board should be unanimous in deciding who the person would be.
Well,
to be appointed on the
we would
board.
like for it to be unanimous.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And otherwise,
Oh,
that the
yeah.
seat could be left open. We're only talking about a few months after election.
Right.
So you and I had this discussion. This video reflects that day, does not reflect March 20th.
Okay, Councilman, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Back to the pink elephant in the room, which otherwise known as the appointed seat. Also, I have to agree that this should have been made public. Who was vying for the seat, what the qualifications were, and we should have been involved. The people should have been informed all along as people dropped out or joined on. As well, we should know who this person is right now before you appoint them, because what is this? What is the secret? Why does it have to not be announced? Why don't you tell us right now who you plan to appoint?
There were two people that we interviewed for the final interview, which was Mr. Ed Slowshower and Mr. A.J. Beepan.
Okay. And who were the other people? Because I understand you wanted to keep it anonymous, but that's not required by law.
No,
That
it's
was your
not. I
person.
don't have the list in front of me, but there were 7 or 6 or 7 other people that were interviewed at the first round of interviews.
Okay. The statement I've made several times, and it gets groans from up there on that dais, is, again, you all work for us. And now you're appointing someone to work for us without our say, without us having any input into who this person is. So the logical thing to do, if our hands are tied, is to appoint someone who you feel represents the majority or represents a little of everyone. And that's a hard thing to find.
Difficult.
You're not going to find that.
Difficult.
So I would hope that whoever you're appointing this late in the game without any knowledge is based on somebody that you feel is going to represent the entire Fishkill community the best, not just one political platform.
Well,
So-
political parties, everybody has political party views.
Right? But I would hope that's how you looked at it.
Most of the people who interviewed were of one political party. There were some different ones. But we were lucky to have, I believe, 8 people who came forward, and we narrowed it down to 2, which we all agreed on the 2, and now this is where we're at.
Okay, all 4 agreed on these 2.
For the final interview, yes.
Oh, for the
correct.
final interview. Okay, I'm still not understanding why it has to be kept a secret until you expose to us and present this person. Why can't you tell us right now who it is? So we
I
can
just
comment
told
on
you
it.
the 2.
We still have
2.
to vote
We
on
didn't
it.
vote on it yet. It's
We
the
have to
first
vote on it.
resolution.
So you haven't decided amongst
Probably all
yourselves?
individually amongst ourselves, but we have to wait for the vote.
Okay, I understand now, okay. I thought that you already were going to pick someone.
No,
So
we've
out-
had discussion amongst us board members for the last 2, longer,
Yeah.
Okay. Out of those 2 that you mentioned, I would just like to put my input in there. Not that it has any weight, but as you know, I've been sitting in this audience watching a lot for the past many years, okay? I've seen a lot of non-transparency in the past 12 years. I know you're trying to be as transparent as
I am.
possible, and that's why I say it would have been nice to, even if you aren't accepting info from the people, that they would know. They would see the resumes, they would understand maybe better
Right.
why you chose this person. And once you guys vote, maybe each of you can give us a little input as to why you chose this person,
Okay.
whether it's the person that gets the most votes or not. I think that would be very helpful to know why you feel this is the person that should be representing, working for all of us here. From what I understand, I know Ed has been up here and been very vocal, very level-headed, looks at all sides of things. I like that. I don't always agree with what he says. Sometimes I do agree with what he says. That's fine. That's great. From what I understand of the other person, I've never seen them. I don't know who they are. But what I have researched about them is, and the one thing that bothers me is what majority of what you board members do up there revolves around our tax dollars. Almost everything you do revolves in some way around our tax dollars. So whoever you put up there needs to understand how it's going to affect tax dollars. If they are not paying tax dollars into this town, they're useless, because no matter which way they vote, doesn't affect them,
That's your opinion, I understand.
okay?
Yep.
So I just want to throw that out there, that's a very key thing, that you are working for us and doing what's best with our tax dollars. If you put someone up there that does not pay into that kitty, it doesn't affect them at all which way they vote.
That's your opinion, I understand.
That
Thank
is
you.
absolutely my opinion. Furthermore, I know Facebook was mentioned several times, and I don't know when Facebook became the golden book of
It isn't
information.
me, right.
But what I would like to know, I heard something interesting, is that you sat down with someone who works for us, who put the names out there of who were the first people to put in their resumes.
No,
per se.
that's not accurate. That-
Okay, can you please clarify then?
What the councilman was saying is we discussed with, early on, we had to sit down to discuss that one name was put out there that I think the councilman might have thought that that person put out there, but you can't prove that that person put it out there. So,
So the person denied it when you sat down with them?
no, they said that they assumed because of things that they heard or that they've seen or what have you. So, not that that person put it out there knowingly, could have or he could have put it out there unknowingly. But that wasn't to be determined, is what I'm saying.
Is this an elected person or a hired person?
No, I'm not going to discuss it any further, but
Well, as I said, they work for us, and that's a problem with an ethics of somebody that's working
they-
in this building, and the bottom line is I'd like to know who it is.
if anybody else can answer here.
Do we not have the right to know?
It was a private meeting between myself and Councilman Marinaro.
Okay, do we not have the right to know who is the person that's putting out
just wanna-
possibly
I just wanna
falsified
say
information that works in our town hall?
Right, I just want to add that, again, I personally received a phone call of somebody putting out their information on Facebook. So
Manny,
when I
I'm
found
asking you
out,
directly.
when I
Who
found
is
out
it?
the next morning, I approached the town supervisor to see who knew about this. And he says, we don't even know. But yet, the information was out there. So when we had a discussion with the person who removed what she wrote on Facebook and said that was a personal intuition.
An intuition.
Right.
But that Facebook says
We know it's a
something.
female, and she might have some psychic abilities.
Right.
so far.
That
Okay.
person said something about a certain candidate that, again, I didn't even know the name.
Well, Manny, who'd you sit down with? Nick, and you sat down with somebody. Who'd you sit down with? That's all I'm asking. My last question.
I don't know if,
I mean, you guys work for us, can we know?
I understand that, but how is this relevant to,
Because I think we have a right to know.
but to give me the reason
How
why
ethical the
it's
people that work for us are.
relevant, why the councilman and I had a private meeting with
It's very
somebody.
relevant, because there could be other information that's being put out there due to the person's premonitions or dreams or whatever, that might affect other people and
That
how
could
they
be,
receive.
that could be anybody though,
Right.
Michael.
It could be, absolutely, but right
Right.
now, we know of someone.
I also think that furthermore, this same person put another comment regarding this same person just a couple of nights ago. Puts it out and takes it out, the same person. And if you want me to bring the person that could testify to this, he's sitting in the community. So it's not your say. When we say to the community, it's supposed to be anonymous, how anonymous is it if somebody puts this information out there? And discredits one candidate against the rest of them to the community.
And that's part of the
Well, I
big
don't-
problem right there. It's not just information.
Well, that's.
There's a motive.
That's why I disagree with a lot of things on Facebook. It gives false information, discredits people when they
Right.
shouldn't be
But you
discredited.
felt it necessary to address it sitting down with this person.
Yeah.
It was that weighted, that.
It was to be clarified whether, this was put out there knowingly or unknowingly. And that,
Well-
and that's what I.
How do you put something on Facebook unknowingly?
No, that they knew about or that's what
All
their
right.
opinion was.
All right. But from what I read, it wasn't looking like, I had a dream last night that these are the people that are submitting resumes. That's not what was presented.
Right, and in January, I think this was back in January, we just started getting a few people interested, and they were sending, some people sent a formal letter in, some people sent, two candidates sent me an email, which then I printed out for the board, and then a few names got out into, Facebook land and everything else. So then we discussed it amongst the board and said, let's try and keep it professional and not to discredit anybody and put things out there, other names. So we all agreed to that, and that's how we move forward.
Further, just to
Yeah.
think about on this topic, in this building is a lot of private information,
Yes, sir, yeah.
okay? There's a big mistrust here now. And whoever this person is,
I understand. Well,
okay?
we
Who
said.
probably has access, whoever she is, to a lot of private information, which can also go on Facebook,
Understood,
okay?
yeah.
And just lastly, I wanted to wrap it up with saying that whoever you mentioned, the person you're appointing tonight is only a temporary position, and they have to be voted in.
November's an election.
But it's 9 months of that person.
Well,
It's
November's
not
an
just a few
election,
weeks we're
right.
talking. It's 9 months of that person. A lot can happen in 9 months. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Mr. Wallers, I have one more thing, though, if you don't mind. And, I'm sorry, guys. And I'm not saying this with any disrespect. I just want to clarify that first. But I do recall several months ago, maybe a year or so ago, when the former supervisor was here, you stood up there and you pointed to us and you said, what I see there are people that do not represent me. I see a bunch of middle-aged white guys.
Do not represent me. I
No.
said I see middle-aged, white, male,
guys.
Republican Catholics.
Right.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay,
And I
so-
used that terminology so I could then point out all the other groups of people and find out who is representing them, who felt they
Okay,
were
but-
representing them.
If I can continue, now one of the candidates is a young person of color.
Oh, great,
And the other one is a middle-aged white guy.
okay.
And I think they're both great, and I've talked to both of them. So it
But
seems like you want to have
that-
it both ways there.
No.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that the person should not be a viable person feeding into what you guys do up
All
there
our
as a
can-
taxpayer.
All the candidates are
Every
viable.
single
I would love to see a young
Every
person
single
up there.
candidate
All
was
the
very
I'd
candidates-
love to see a woman up there and a person of
Yes.
color and a veteran. And
So would I.
I've expressed up here several times to expand the board to 7 members. So you can possibly achieve that and have
There
more
were other candidates that
diversity
we
up
liked
there.
that we had to, we
However-
relented on, that we had to
however,
compromise. That were
Everything
women.
Let's
you do up
finish
there
up.
revolves around our tax dollars.
Understood.
Ours too.
Yeah.
Ours too.
The whole,
Yeah.
every taxpayer
Right.
in this town, okay? And that's a big point. If the person is not familiar with how the taxes work and hasn't been paying in, hasn't felt the burden of it,
then that person never would have made it this far. I could bring up Marcus Molinaro when he was 18 years old as mayor.
Means
I could
nothing.
means nothing, it
He
absolutely.
wasn't here. Was he here? Did I vote, did we get a chance to vote for him?
All right, let's have
He wasn't
other
on that
people
board,
get a
was he?
chance. Thank
Who
you.
was in New Paltz, 18 years old, a mayor too, a big deal.
Well, thank you. Let's have, Bob, you want to let other people get up
Sure.
first, Bob?
I didn't know anybody else's.
Yeah, he's,
There's a
yeah.
line of people.
Mr. Wilbars, he was waiting. You could go ahead.
Go right ahead.
And take the picture down before it gets broken.
Crowd can get the Rotten Tomatoes ready. I think the board handled it perfectly. I don't think there should be any leaks. I don't think the names should be revealed of people under consideration. I don't think anything about them should be revealed. It's your decision by law, and you should do it as you choose in privacy. This way, people don't get embarrassed, information about them doesn't get out, and I don't think it should, because it's a private decision to make for the board and the board alone. So I don't agree with we should release any public information about any of the candidates whatsoever, and anybody that believes anything and read on Facebook ought to go take the bridge in Poughkeepsie and take a swift swan dive into it. What I was... And I'm not interviewing for the job.
Okay, thank you.
Calvin Coolidge, if nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. Anyway, what I was thinking of is about this the last week, and people did vote. Like Mr. Marinaro, I believe, won by 20-some-odd% of the total vote. I believe Mr. Franco was close to 40% of the total vote. Mr. D'Alessandro, you ran unopposed, so I believe it was 100% of the total vote. There were other candidates, though, that were willing to put their names out to be council people. John Jackson, who addressed this board, who is a fire member, has devoted his life to this town. He's done all kinds of great things. He had 18.4% of the vote. Michael O'Brien, who I know personally because I served on the planning board with him for a long time, had 14.15% of the vote. And Edwin Miyoshi, I believe is how you pronounce it, had 6% of the vote. So there are people out there who did get votes. They're across party lines. The two people I know are nice people. I don't agree with Michael O'Brien and everything, but I don't agree with everybody on everything. So I was wondering if you perhaps, I know you may have other candidates, don't want to know who they are. Don't know them, don't care. If you would want to consider any one of those three to be asked to volunteer if they would like the job. You don't have to comment. That's it. I had two other things I wanted to comment on. I saw the controller. It was very pleasant. He sat down, and I believe I stopped at your office afterward to say what a nice person he was for answering my questions. It looked to me like 2.7%, you know, for the tax increase was a little bit more than you said could be found in keeping the budget neutral in terms of redoing the offices. Now, I remember Mr. Hick.
2.7%.
2.7% of $14,127,000. That's
Okay.
the town budget. 2.7% of that is $377.98.
Okay, and what's 377.98?
That's just the amount of increase from the budget from last year to 2018. And that is about 100 grand more than I believe you were talking about redoing the offices in
okay.
here
I didn't know where
and
you were
there.
going. Thank you.
That's where I'm going. Sorry, I had to get there.
No, okay,
Didn't want
sorry
to go
about
back
that.
and explain it again. And Mr. Hickman always said how tight the budget was, and I remember you said that would be revenue neutral.
Right.
Right. Now, when I looked at the way the comptroller explained it to me, there were two factors in there which I have not been able to get a decent explanation from New York State, and he said they were very complicated, and I believe him. It seemed like the way the budget was set up was to guarantee a 2.7% tax increase, not a necessarily needed 2.7% increase. He said there was a tax-based growth factor first of 1.0084, and then you multiply it again by the levy growth factor of 1.0184, and you come up with the total budget, which is 2.7%.
Okay.
Now, my objection, and the reason I went to saw him, again, he explained as best he could to me, and maybe my lack of ability to understand. My taxes have gone up 4%, 5%, and 5% in the last 3 years. And the way he explained it was that means somebody else's assessment got cut. it just doesn't seem reasonable that people in my neighborhood would all go up 4 or 5%. I'd like to know who the heck is getting the cuts.
Well, some businesses, some buildings come off the rolls.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
It seems a lot.
You still collect the same pot but from
Yes,
the lesser people,
yes, I understand the way
right.
it's done. It just, I wish I understood it better. It just seems like I keep getting hit every year, and I was reminded of that when the gentleman from Hillside Lake was here and got so upset and stormed out. So I just thought I'd say that's one of the concerns we have is, why do so many of us see tax increases? I don't know of anybody that saw a tax decrease. And I asked, probably 100 people.
I'm working on that.
Okay, fair enough. I had one more thing I wanted to address before I leave the floor and the tomatoes come flying. The roundabouts. You had discussed those at the last meeting. Now, people say how wonderfully they work. They work wonderfully in low traffic. They don't work wonderfully in high traffic. If you've ever been to Arlington, where the high school is, where the 2 roundabouts are during rush hour, you can't get in. People are constantly trying to squeeze you, so all the roads back up. When the gentleman presented the traffic flow, where he showed the cars going nice, they were all nice and evenly spaced out and everything went around. That isn't the way it works. You get piles of cars coming in from one direction, those people all trying to squeeze in at the same time or go around to the next left. And I would just say, if you're considering roundabouts, please give it a lot of thought.
There was a concept plan, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I thought somebody ought to say something, and
Right.
I'm it. I remember when the Palin Road situation was there, when IBM was in flight, and the same gentleman prepared a flow diagram, and he showed the cars going out and around, and, it's nice little, and everything was nice and orderly. He forgot a side road completely. So I would say, before you approve those plans or consider them, remember, people do make mistakes. Look at them very carefully. Because there was a side road right down, and I used to take it all the time when I kind of came out of IBM. You cut through the development, you make a right-hand turn, you go, and you don't have to wait in traffic. That's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Ann Laval. I would just like to say, just ask if it's really an urgency that somebody be appointed to the board. Doesn't seem that you really need a tiebreaker right now. I think if you did, you wouldn't have the majority you need to appoint the person that you're appointing. I don't see a lot of 2 versus 2 votes going on. So it begs the question, what's the rush? I don't have anything to say about one candidate versus the other per se, but just an observation that it doesn't seem like you really have an urgent situation on your hand. And in as much as the last election was rather contentious in certain ways, the community is aware and engaged, and I think they deserve the opportunity to make the decision under the circumstances that this does just not seem like an urgent situation right now. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am, if I can really quickly just
Sure.
respond. I do think that filling this seat is very important because we don't know what's around the corner, and there could be a 2-2 vote, and we're going to need clarity here. We've had these meetings, we've had these interviews, and it's sort of peculiar to me that all of a sudden now we need to put the brakes on this because, and I'm seeing the people that are coming up here because maybe it's not going to be the person they want, or it's not going to be their desired the outcome that they thought it would be.
That's not what I said.
I'm not
address
accusing you of that at all, ma'am.
I just addressed
I-
whether or
I
not,
totally understand
under the
that, but we've
circumstance
been-
that the community's engaged and
The
rather
community will be
divided,
engaged.
it doesn't.
They will
doesn't
be
make a
engaged
lot of sense to me.
for the November election. So we've been doing this for what, since January? We've been putting together all of these names, and it's not like we just said, okay, we're going to take this one. There was a lot of banter back and forth. There was a lot of disagreement. As a matter of fact, I'll go on record in saying that there was 2 other candidates that I liked. We each picked our top three. There's two candidates at
That
the
wasn't my
supervisor.
point. My point was
Ma'am,
whether or not this is
I
an
understand,
urgent
I
situation and it needs to
understand,
be addressed.
I understand
I
that.
don't think that it does.
I understand that, but I do believe that it is necessary. And I'd like to say also that the supervisor had like two candidates. And, you know, it got along where another council person did not like those candidates. And we agreed to drop that. And then we moved on because we're trying to work together and we're trying to compromise. So we came up with the final two. We interviewed them for a second round, and we're basing our decision on that and who we believe is going to help East Fishkill the most. Now, I like both candidates. I talked to both candidates. So it's a win-win for us as far as I'm concerned.
Marty?
See this hat?
Yes, sir.
I served in Germany, and my picture was up on the road. It's not here. I want my picture up here.
Okay, Marty.
Got it, Marty. I'll put in a good word for you, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
One last quick comment.
Let me see what this is.
I know you said you guys were privy to just voting amongst yourselves, and transparency would have been nice, okay? The one other thing that, I don't want to say I'm insulted. I don't get insulted that easy. But when you tell me that something is on Facebook, I would like to know tonight if everybody here can agree that Facebook not only should not be used as a reference for this town hall anymore, it's certainly not the Bible for these town hall meetings
Bobby,
or
I'll be the
information.
first one to sign that petition.
Oh, I
believe
thought
me.
you were going to apologize.
No, are you kidding me? I'll be the first
No,
one
no, no,
to get off
but
Facebook with
seriously
everybody.
speaking, I think that going forward, that anything that's on Facebook should not have any relevance
You got it.
in here.
Agreed.
Can we agree on that?
I have no
So that there's no validity, no nothing to it. Is that agreed upon? I only heard you.
Hey,
I don't
listen,
have Facebook, Bobby.
it's,
I don't have Facebook.
I don't go on that much.
Okay.
so
what
I
happens,
don't really
Bobby, is
care
when
about
people
it.
don't get their way,
Yeah.
they lead the Facebook
Yeah.
brigade.
Well, listen.
I saw it coming, I mentioned it, I knew it was coming, and it's here, and I'm seeing
All
it
right,
now.
Bob, we have a couple more.
Yeah,
other
one
people
last
there.
thing. I've been called out on Facebook as Bobby Brasso. Don't know who it is. Don't go on Facebook, by somebody in this town hall. It's over with. But for that very reason, that, you know, it shouldn't be used with any kind of merit whatsoever. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Good evening. Regarding the leak and a town employee or an elected official, that it's my impression from the exchange, leaked this information on Facebook, and I don't do Facebook either. You know, in the past, there's been situations where there was an ethics board, and whether this is an elected official or an appointed official, a town employee, perhaps that situation should be brought in front of the ethics board. If this individual is privy to inside information and is leaking inside information, well, then that's the
But
procedure in place.
that wasn't proved or anything else. It was discussed between myself and the councilman and that person to clarify an issue. You can't prove that that person had prior knowledge or anything else. So we tried to sit down together to put this to rest, and I
Okay,
thought we
well,
did a
hopefully
good
the
job at it.
recommendation to that individual then was to cease and desist.
Okay, so be it.
Now, given this particular situation that's been discussed at length tonight, brings me to what I would like to address regarding the agenda, and this has been addressed in the past, and that being courtesy of the floor. And then in the aftermath, we used to be able to speak on general town issues.
This is the time to speak on general town issues.
I understand. Obviously, it has become the time to speak about anything and everything.
Right.
And then, obviously, according to the agenda, we're done. And I would implore you that perhaps it may be prudent to engage the public in each and every resolution as you discuss them, so that when it comes up to this appointee that you guys are all going to vote on, well, then you can have the opportunity for public opinion then.
But that's what we're doing right now.
But we don't know what each of you are going to vote for.
Yeah, but then we have the vote, and then we go on to the next resolution.
Well, I think you should be subject to public opinion as you vote.
We'll be here till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's...
Just saying.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Nick Joseph. Thank you for listening to me. I'll try to be brief. Just in regards to process, for a point of reference for everyone, appointments are made on the county level also by town boards, and also 28 states in this country fill vacancies through appointments, so I have no problem with this process. We elect you to begin with to make tough decisions that you can't always come to us for the voters for guidance on. And then to address another issue, I don't appreciate when some residents in this town are relegated to second-class citizens just because they don't own a house themselves. Maybe they rent, maybe they live in a cooperative homeowners association, maybe they live with elderly parents to take care of them. So just because someone doesn't own a home themselves doesn't mean they couldn't ably serve on your board. I'm sure that there's other ways that they could serve this community, and I'm sure they have and served by saving the taxpayer dollars. Just for instance, a member of the fire department could save the taxpayers several $100,000 a year. If you look at other local fire departments such as Fairview or Arlington, comparable homes in the $250,000 range, their fire taxes are at least 10 times higher than our local taxes are. Some people in those districts pay upwards of $2,000 per year in their fire taxes. So I think there's a lot of ways people can serve their community without simply writing a check because they own a home, and I don't think that should be a point of consideration for this seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on any of our resolutions or general town issues? Please come forward now. More?
So I didn't come here to speak tonight, but since I'm here, I'm going to. And only because my name was mentioned. So I specifically did not apply for the appointed position, just because I felt that that was not something that I should do, to put you guys in a position to ask you to appoint me after I just lost an election. So that was my opinion. And that's why I opted not to put my name in for the appointed position, where if I am seeking to do that again, I'll just run again. So I just wanted to clarify that publicly, since my name was mentioned. And the other thing that I'm thinking about while I'm sitting over there is everybody's just talking about voting like that's all you guys do. I'm hoping that you do more than that for us, and that you're working up there. And I researched the job quite a bit, and I know there's a lot of work to do. And so if there's a person missing up there, they're not doing work that needs to get done. So I think the position should be filled to make it more what it should be for you guys, which is less of a workload on the four of you, because I'm assuming that that person would kick in and work as well. So I think there's more to it than just voting.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Kayla Kozak. I just wanted to first address that I'm so thankful for each one of your service and for representing each and every one of us. Speaking of representation, we discussed tonight about representing a wide variety and diversity. And I think it's really important that the young people, being that a young person's name was mentioned tonight, the young people are considered in this decision, being that not all of us are property owners, but we do have a say when it comes to our taxes, and we do have a say when it comes to what the future of East Fishkill looks like. And when that in the future, we will be running this town, and we will have a say, and to be able to have that say and that representation now is so imperative. And someone who looks at Mark Molinaro as an idol and as someone that started young really shows and demonstrates that now is the time to get young people involved, and young people involved at that table. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Courtesy of the floor? No? Okay. Move on to the agenda. Nothing for receipt and file. Public hearings, open, okay. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing to consider a local law to make Cold War exemption permanent?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is now opened. Okay, we have a Cold War veterans exemption, which came up. The Cold War veterans real property tax exemption is available on residential properties owned by a veteran who served during the Cold War period. This period is defined anytime between February 1st, 1955 to February 27th, 1961, and May 8th, 1975 to August 1st, 1990. All cities, towns, counties, villages, and school districts have the option to offer this exemption to qualified veterans. So, this is to extend that. Is that correct, Attorney?
Yes, originally you were authorized to do it for 10 years. We're in our 9th year. And the New York State Legislature has given you the right to make it a permanent exemption, which this law would do.
Okay, I think, speaking with all the council persons, that we're all happy about that, and we all support all our veterans and would love to extend this law. Anybody like to speak upon that?
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. I am only in favor of that.
Great.
Anything to help the veterans. Right, guys?
It's only 10 years ago we did this?
9.
Nine.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Time flies for
I
you.
thought it was longer than that ago.
Well, there were many other veterans exemptions, but this particular one came in because they felt there was a gap between the various conflict periods, so.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody in the audience like to speak for or against the consideration for this local law to extend the Cold War exemption? No? Okay, so with that, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion? Not yet. One more. Do I have a motion to adopt the negative declaration and the local law?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Resolutions. Our first resolution is to appoint a town board member to the vacancy, whereas the election of myself as supervisor, a vacancy has existed on the town board since January 1st, and it is desired town board to fill the vacancy pending the results of the election to fill the same in November 2018, and the person appointed herein will serve till December 31st, 2018, when the person chosen in November will serve the balance of the term. Therefore be it resolved that somebody will, from East Fishkill, New York, be and hereby is appointed to fill the vacancy on the town board till December 31st, 2018. Do I have somebody to make a motion?
I make a
Town
motion.
Supervisor? I
Yes.
make a motion to table this. I think, after hearing some of the comments from the community, I think that we should have the opportunity to just come to a reasonable conclusion and present the candidate at the next April meeting. Can I call for a vote on that?
Hold on.
Can we have discussion?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Get a second, then we can discuss it.
Yep.
Are you saying that you're willing to delay it for 1 month, but willing to make a decision next month?
I think we need further discussion.
No, no, no. Are we willing to make the decision in April or May? I'll even push it off to May. But by May, we'll make a decision, April, May.
We could discuss it tonight, if you wish. I mean, I only made a motion to table this.
No, but that's the question I'm asking. How long do you want to table it for? 1 month or 2 months or
1 month.
a year and a half?
1 month would be sufficient.
What is the, with all due respect, Councilman, what was the point of us having all of the interviews? We did the interview process, not once, not twice, 3 times. We had 3 rounds. Twice, the first round, there were 2 different rounds.
We did.
And then we whittled it down.
We did the first
We-
general round.
Yes.
And then we invited the last two
Did we
candidates
not
to come.
compromise for you?
I'm sorry?
Did we not compromise for you on this issue? There were 2
Not
candidates.
compromising for me. I mean, I don't know why it's coming to
Well,
identifying.
I think it's because we had 2 candidates that we really liked, and you were steadfast against them. And listen, the supervisor has asked me to play nicer, okay?
Thank you.
And I'm trying. I'm really trying. So I abandoned those 2 candidates, and I came up with the other ones that I liked. Mr. Slowshower was one of them, and so was AJ. So it just seems peculiar to me that all of a sudden now, because it doesn't seem to be going a particular way, now we got to put it off. And all the people
You
that
guys
came
could
out.
take we could take a vote tonight if you guys want. I mean, I think that.
I don't think
with
there's
all
a
the
need to put it off.
implications, with all the implication that we've had some of the conservative concerns from the community coming up to the podium tonight and expressing their opinions, pro and con, regarding the 2 candidates. I think that I'm just posing the question, should we take a few more minutes and talk about it one more time? I mean, it's just, somebody said, what is the urgency? I mean, I would understand if so far there was a problem, the way we voted on certain things. I don't see an issue with that.
You know, like I always say to my kids, you never know what's around the corner. You never know when the 2-2 vote's going to pop up.
Look, I think we have a lot of work that we need to do for the taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody on this board is willing to do that, and we're focused on doing that.
And we could use some more help. It's a big town with a lot of responsibility. I know you work hard. I know everybody up on this table works hard.
And guess what? You know, we're not afraid to do the work, and I said it before in public. I think we're doing a great job. The bottom line is this, and this is what my, main concern is, whether we choose one or the other. Okay, we have an election going on in 5 months. And I don't understand why we're pressuring ourselves to do this now, rather than wait, or give ourselves another chance to discuss this.
I personally do not feel that there is anything else to discuss. We thoroughly vetted everyone. We talked to them. I talked to Mr. Slowshower the other night.
Excuse me, excuse me, Bob.
And
Bob,
it's-
excuse me,
we
no,
will during-
it's our discussion, thank you, Bob.
To me, pushing this off is a disservice not only to the candidates, but to the residents who want to see somebody up here. Because yes, there are a few people that came up here tonight and said to hold off on it. But believe me, there's a lot that want somebody sitting there. Plenty. Mr. Supervisor, did you receive any,
I did, I forwarded to the board, I don't know if the board received, I received letters of endorsement for certain candidates. For one candidate, I forwarded them all to the board this afternoon. And I think, okay, the councilman, you have a motion to table this. Do we have a second? Do I have a second to table this motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Wait, before we go too far, are we tabling it for 1 month and voting next month? That's the only question I want answered. We're going
Are
to
we
vote
gonna-
next month.
That's what I
and
said.
Discuss more.
That's what I said before when I made the motion.
So table for 1 month.
Table for 1 month?
No.
So we're going to vote on this in 1 month from now? We're going to have executive session to discuss again?
No.
I don't know, tell me.
He
Is that
wants
what
to
you
put.
wanna do?
Councilman, you
Are
want to
we gonna
put this
vote
off
on
to
this?
November.
I'm sorry?
You want to put this off to November. Be honest.
He wants to put it off to November, but he's willing to vote next month.
Are you willing to
That's the
vote next
question.
month?
Can I rescind my second?
I didn't even write it down yet.
Huh? What are you saying?
I'll still second the motion so we can discuss it.
Okay. Pete's going to second it.
I will second a motion that we vote next month. And we can have one more executive session to decide this, to talk it out. But we may not be 100% behind any one candidate, and that's what we've got to understand.
I say we vote now.
I mean, they're both great candidates. I would take,
I know.
we interviewed 8 people. One person backed out before they even started. We interviewed 8 people, and we're looking at putting at least 5 or 6 of those people on boards within the town, because they actually care about the town.
Yeah,
And that's what's the important part.
We were very fortunate to have good candidates that came forward.
You know, I want to thank Mr. Franco for keeping his calm after the town supervisor suggested it. But I just have to say that this is a discussion that is coming about a party line vote. And with all due respect, we did do the due diligence. And probably the candidate that I favor is not part of my party, is not part of any party. Okay? I think that this community in the past has addressed the fact of the matter that we have one party fits all in this community. And I am surprised that still, you know, the 3 Republicans are going down to their candidates. And I'm not talking about party now. I'm just talking about being individuals. From day one, since we started the conversation, I said there should be somebody that reflects the whole community. I never mentioned that I want my candidate over anybody else's candidate. Never.
Neither did we.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is that that one candidate that Mr. Franco favors is a person of his party. And it's becoming a very party kind of situation over here at this point.
Yeah, but when you talk about party, excuse me, we talk about party, political parties. We're all a member of a political party.
Correct.
We're all members of political committees.
Correct.
All of us. So that, to me, doesn't hold any water. I think that the process is what holds the water. The process that all 4 of us took. 8 people, we interviewed them very thoroughly. We came up with a load of questions that we agreed upon all the questions and then gave it to the candidates and interviewed each one of them. Then we whittled it down. We had another executive session to discuss about it. Then we whittled it down to 2 that we all agreed to have the final interview. So I don't know what else to say, but we've been very transparent with us and the whole entire process. I asked the board, when one person asked me to not to put this forward, I asked the rest of the board, because I don't want to be a dictator on this board. I want to make it an open process and get the opinion of all the council persons here. I think that we've done a good service to the people, that we have looked into the candidates, and we have 2 very good people. And it comes down, unfortunately, to a matter of choice. Either one, whoever is chosen is great. We're blessed. We're lucky. East Fishkill, you're blessed. Whoever we pick here to fill this seat for the next 7-8 months, you're blessed. They're going to help this town. So I just think that I don't know what else we can discuss.
Let's do it now.
Thank you. I think that I appreciate everybody's opinions here. I don't discount anybody's opinions here, because that's your opinion. You have a right to it. And we could disagree, as long as we disagree respectfully with each other. Okay, that's my #1 rule that I've been asking all this board to do, respect each other, and we could do the best thing for the town. And I believe that we all have a good heart for the town. So, yeah, we might not agree with who we want to put on the board. Okay, we don't agree 100%. I would love for us to all agree. It'd be great. We have a little party here. But we can't do that sometimes. So I don't know what else I can say, or how much more transparent we can be as a board, that we discussed it together and did everything together, so the people know we were very transparent with each other, and we had open discussions everything else. It was a great process, actually. But that's what I have to say. I think we should move forward.
So if I may, since we're discussing the two candidates and their qualities, let's just say that it's not my opinion, but one candidate has got more to offer to the community, okay, as a candidate, because his affiliation. I mean, to me, as I said in the past, taxes are extremely important. We have a candidate who's a board trustee of the Wappinger School District. What better channel of communication we have than to have a person on our board that we could communicate the needs of 30,000 people in our community to bring back and forth to those. I wonder how many of us have attended in the last 5 years any of the Wappinger School District meetings?
I watch them online occasionally.
I don't. I have a lot more other things to do than go to, that's why I pick my board members for the Wappinger Central School to fight for me, just like he did, just like Mr. Sloshower did. He is great. And that's why I wanted him as one of the final people. But to say one's better than the other, it's a personal choice. The other member, he helped our fire district, like that one gentleman came up to say, saved us tens of thousands of dollars for residents. It's just a matter of choice. It's not. It doesn't have to be such a terrible decision to pick one or the other. We should be happy with whoever it is. All of us should.
I am looking, and probably everybody else is, not for party interest, but for the best interest of the taxpayers.
So are we all.
That's what I'm basing my vote on.
Well,
yeah.
You know, somebody, I don't know where it came from, said we probably need a young person on the board. I don't know how Mr. Cassidy feels about it, but, you know.
I'm the old guy.
I'm not the old guy. You're older than I am.
I don't know, but you've been on this board longer than everybody else.
And I can tell you right now, the median age it's come down by almost 20 years since I got on the board.
I'm the youngest, by the way.
When I first got on the board, God. I had full head, too. God, I had to be 30 years younger than the next town board member. Probably close.
Okay, well, I just,
So we had a first and a
forward,
second.
I don't see.
Nick, we had
how
a
it's
first and a
going to- yeah,
second. Can we have a vote?
Yeah,
How-
okay.
about
Madam
this?
Clerk, call the roll.
Okay, what are we calling the roll for?
To table.
Postpone, table it for 1 month.
Table the vote for a
Brother
month.
Manny's older than us.
To table for
For table for 1 month. Okay, so I have a motion from Councilperson Marinaro. Councilperson Franco?
No.
Councilperson Cassidy?
No.
Supervisor D'Alessandro?
Yes.
So now we have a split vote.
There you go. That's why we need another person. We just got the 2-2.
Okay, the motion.
Thank you.
Motion is denied. Do I have a motion to appoint a town board member?
I make a motion to appoint A.J. Beepan as East Fishkill Town Board member.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Or you want to call the roll, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Okay. Councilperson Marinaro?
No.
Councilperson Franco?
Yes.
Councilperson Cassidy?
Aye.
Supervisor D'Alessandro?
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you very much. Mr. Beepan, please come forward. Madam Clerk, do we have a judge here? Mr. Beepan, please come forward. The judge is coming forward to administer your oath. Judge Moore, are you giving the oath?
I hold the Bible.
Oh, God bless.
That's more important. Judge Romick's coming in.
Mr. Beepan, here's your packet for this evening.
No, I didn't put one out online.
Okay, even better. thank you, everybody who came tonight to voice your opinions. It's important that you do, and I really appreciate them, and the board does appreciate it, and this is the process that we should have, that we have open discussion, and I'm just thankful. Thank you very much. Is the judge coming?
Yeah. He was robing. Somebody got to switch. Whoa!
Hey! All right, Judge.
What did I
Huh? Oh. You need a Bible?
No.
I see where he is. No, oh yeah, no, I know. I'm just trying to get what angle.
Where's your Bible, Maura? Well, the guy that's holding it should have it.
This is why we need Gina.
Technical difficulty.
Mike's doing a commercial.
Camera. Maybe remind this the kids from the schools here.
This Bible's been in town hall since Linden.
I see the dust.
It was on the board when I got there.
All you guys are dancing.
solemnly swear to uphold the laws and Constitution of the United States of America. To uphold the laws and Constitution of the United States of America. And the laws and Constitution of the State of New York. To uphold the laws and Constitution of the State of New York. I will faithfully discharge my duties. Yes. I will faithfully discharge my duties. As East Fishkill Town Councilman. As East Fishkill Town Councilman. To the best of my abilities. To the best of my abilities. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. Here's your seat. Welcome to the board. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. You said you've reviewed that? You printed that out?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Get it off Facebook?
No, I do not, no.
Okay. Our second resolution tonight is a bond resolution. So, this is the town hall renovation that I've been discussing for the past several months. I've discussed this exhaustively with the board, and basically, we will be bonding for $225,000 to do town hall renovations and to extend our office space in the back. I have discussed with the board and discussed with the comptroller that we can do this because we are going to be making permanent cuts. The cuts, unfortunately, will be coming from recreation. The cuts that we made will surpass the amount to pay for the bond, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's about it. So, do I have a motion to approve the bond resolution for the town hall renovations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
So this is going to be revenue neutral, correct? There's going to be no.
That's right,
increase.
that's right.
Just want to make sure.
Whatever
that
the
that's-
cost of the bond per year is being cut, permanent cut out of the budget for this year and future years.
Supervisor, is it true that Superintendent Kenneth Williams will be, and his guys will be helping with this renovation to reduce costs?
Well, yeah, he's been doing it. I had $75,000 in renovation budget from last year, which we started the renovation, and I'm thankful to the highway superintendent. They've been doing a lot of work. They're pouring concrete, they're doing wiring, they're doing cutting in windows, they are doing a lot. And today I text him again to please hang the sheetrock and do the painting too. So we are saving a lot of money, and I'm appreciative. So yes, he is doing a lot of work.
Thank you.
That's Highway and Rec both doing the work.
Highway, well, it's all one
Yeah, I
now.
know.
It's all one now, yes. Okay, is any other discussion? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, number three. Number three, we are going to table tonight. I'm going to take it off. It's the bids for the Hopewell Hamlet Water District, the Cannon Well connection. Can the engineer explain?
Yes, we received, I think, 9 bids or so for the project. We're a little bit over budget. We're going back and reviewing if we can kind of change some of the scope, whether or not we're going to be able to reach an accord with the low bidders or put it out to rebid is still to be decided.
You want to reject this, right?
No. Oh, no, but we still have to sit at the table. We've been primarily focusing on the Ryan Drive interconnection project because that's the one that the EPA needs to connect to first and foremost. So we'd like to just table 3 till next month and we'll have a decision.
Okay, very good. Resolution 4, then, award bids for the Hopewell Hamlet Water District. Councilman Franco, could you read that, please?
Sure. Whereas the town engineer is in receipt of bids for the construction of the Hopewell Hamlet interconnection to Ryan Drive Superfund area and Hopewell Glen. Whereas it was determined that Merit Construction was the lowest responsible bidder for contract number 16-019 with an original bid sum of $583,283. And whereas the Champion Maintenance withdrew their bid due to errors on their bid. Now therefore be it resolved that the bid be and hereby is awarded to Merit Construction for the Hopewell Hamlet interconnection to the Ryan Drive Superfund area in Hopewell Glen. And be it further resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to execute the contract in regard hereto.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to award the Hopewell Hamlet Water District interconnection bid, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
This money's going to come out of the big grant that we're getting.
Not the grant, this is the EPA.
The EPA fund.
Yes.
Well, they're going to do a reimbursement, but we
Reimbursement.
formed a district and they're going to pay, basically
Yeah,
a line
they're gonna
share
pay us
of
back.
it. Yeah.
They have to pay us back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I just want the people to know that.
No, I know, because there was a little contention, I remember in the beginning, that we have to have our full faith in the federal government. We have to lay out the funds and then have the faith that they're going to pay us back. So that's why I said that. But, okay, any other discussion? And you received the memo, the engineer's memo, everybody, correct?
But I just might add to that point, we waited to put the job out to bid, and particularly to award a job until they broke ground, which they did break ground. So I think we were all kind of waiting until that happened. So contract's been awarded, they broke ground, and they need this connection point, so. And they can't connect unless they reimburse us, so.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 5, approved contract for police chief for 2018. Councilman Marinaro, would you read that, please?
Whereas Kevin Keefe was previously appointed chief of police in accordance with the civil service law, and whereas the previous salary and benefit agreement with the chief expired on December 31st, 2017, where it is the desire of the town board to approve a new agreement for 2018, now therefore be it resolved that a next agreement or compensation for the chief, for the police chief be and hereby is approved, and be further resolved that the chief will make the sum of $126,003 inclusive longevity for 2018, and be further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign said agreement.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the contract for the police chief?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
The chief has been outstanding. He's a great man, well-deserved. It's always a pleasure to work with him. He does a great job. We got the greatest police force around, and we're very proud of him. Thank you, Chief.
Chief does a lot of work. Chief does a lot of work. Thank you, Chief, and we're grateful to him. His contract was up, so this was appropriate. So I have a motion and a second. Claire?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, Resolution 6. Acknowledge April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Councilman Beepan, would you read that, please?
Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological movement disorder of the central nervous system which has a unique impact on each patient. And whereas, according to the Parkinson's Action Network, the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and the National Institutes of Health, there are over 1 million Americans diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And whereas, symptoms include slowness, tremor, difficulty with balance, and speaking rigidly, cognitive and memory problems. And whereas, although new medications and therapies may enhance the life for some people with Parkinson's, more work is needed for a cure. And whereas, increased education and research are needed to help find more effective treatments with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. Whereas, multidisciplinary approach to Parkinson's disease care includes local wellness, support, and caregiver groups. Whereas, April has been proclaimed Worldwide Parkinson's Awareness Month and for all to recognize the need for more research and help dealing with the devastating effects of Parkinson's disease. Now, therefore, we, the Town Board of East Fishkill, do hereby proclaim April Parkinson's Awareness Month in 2018.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to acknowledge April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. I received a letter from Ken Chatlos. He's a scribe or a board member on the Parkinson's Disease Support Group, the Hudson Valley, Mid-Hudson Valley, and they asked us to do this. We've done this for many, many years. We're one of 32 municipalities that do it to show support for the disease, and we're happy to do it. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 7, abolish the Hillside Lake Park District. Councilman, Deputy Supervisor, would you read that, please?
Whereas the town board previously received a petition from the residents of Hillside Lake Park District seeking its dissolution, and whereas a referendum was held and those voting thereat approved the dissolution, and whereas the town board did on March 1, 2018, hold a public hearing on the plan of dissolution and discuss the proposed actions thereafter with respect to the lake. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hillside Lake Park District be and hereby is dissolved effective June 30th, 2018. And be it further resolved that there is no debt pertaining to the district and no employees or contracts into the future to be terminated. And be it further resolved that the fund balance of said district in the approximate sum of $16,000 shall be held in the general fund for appropriation by the town board for the benefit of the district residents in respect of future work on the lake area. And be it further resolved that the real property of the district be held by the town as recreational land. And be it further resolved that all officials of the town are authorized to implement the intent of this determination. And be it further resolved that the town board endorses the restoration concept plan proposed at the March 1, 2018 public hearing.
Thank you, Councilman. I want to amend one part of that. In the second, be it further resolved, it says that the fund balance of said district in the approximate sum of $16,000 shall be held in the general fund for appropriation by the town board for the benefit of the district residents in respect to recreation future work on the lake area. Okay? Is that okay, the board?
Yep.
Okay, so do I have a motion to authorize the dissolution of the Hillside Lake Park District as amended?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Well, discussion, this is a long time coming. So we're happy that we have a plan in place. It's going forward. We had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I should say. And I think that there's only good things ahead, which I'm happy about. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I would just like to compliment you, Supervisor, the town board, and the engineer for the plan that you have put forward. I think it's very cost-conscious, and it's reasonable, and it's going to be, the project's going to be done over a number of years. And I think that this is a very economically conservative thing that we could do for the community while helping the residents of Hillside Lake.
Thank you, Councilman. Yeah, well, I have to thank the residents too, because they're working with us and they understand that, you know, we don't have an endless pot of money, so we're doing what we can when we can, and I appreciate them, and thank you very much. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, number 8, award vendor bids for recreation concession. Councilman Franco, would you read that?
Whereas on various recreational sites owned and operated by the town, there are concession facilities. Whereas the town board has reviewed requests for proposals for various vendors to utilize the concession facilities on these sites to serve the users of the facilities over the summer months. And whereas the town board has reviewed the references, the menus, and other issues pertaining to the vendors. And whereas it is the desire of the town board to authorize the use of the concessions. Now be it resolved that the Route 376 Hopewell Recreation Concession Facility may be utilized from April 30th, 2018 through October 1st, 2018 by Amani's Kitchen upon payment to the town of the sum of $1,000 and upon agreement of the vendor to be open during all activities and events at the site as set forth in the annexed proposal and report what the net actually was. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Route 52 Complex Concession Facility may be utilized from April 30th, 2018 through October 1st, 2018 by Sweet Peas Gooda Fooda LLC upon payment to the town of the sum of $500 and upon agreement of the vendor to be open during all activities and events at the site as set forth in the annexed proposal and report what the net actually was. Now be it further resolved that the Red Wing Park Concession Facility may be utilized from April 30th, 2018 through October 1st, 2018 by Amani's Kitchen upon payment to the town of the sum of $500 and upon agreement of the vendor to be open during all activities and events at the site as set forth in the annexed proposal and report what the net actually was. And be it further resolved that all of the vendors shall sign a letter agreement as prepared by the town attorney and provide to the town attorney for approval certificates of insurance prior to entering upon the use of the concession facilities.
Thank you, Councilman, and thanks to the attorney for that lengthy
thank you.
Resolution. Do I have a motion to award the vendor bids for the concessions at Route 376 and Route 52 Complex?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. These are two areas that we try and get filled every year. We're happy two people came forward, and it'll be a great benefit. So, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 9, approve change order with respect to John Jay Sewer Improvement Area. Councilman Marinaro, would you read that?
Whereas the town board previously has awarded contracts for the construction of the John Jay Sewer Project, and whereas the town engineer has recommended a change order to be approved, and whereas the town engineer's memo is attached hereto, now therefore be it resolved, then the town board does hereby approve the change order recommended by the town engineer in the letter attached hereto.
Thank you, Councilman. So, we had to have a change order. Everybody received the engineer's memo, and there was some additional work for a 4-inch pipe. Engineer, would you like to explain?
Yeah, originally, the pipeline from across from the John Jay Dunkin' Donuts was going to serve the Dome area, the West Campus, John Jay High School, Archway Plaza, and some, I think, Houlihan and Lawrence, those other businesses across the street. The original plan, we were going to go down along the school's property and cut across the Con Ed right-of-way. And we have been working a long time with Con Ed to try to obtain that easement or that right-of-way. When we put the job out to bid, we had included an alternate, that just in case we couldn't get that right-of-way, we would take an alternate route, a little bit longer along 52. Originally wanted to try to avoid utility conflicts. It's, you know, it's tight in that corridor. But when we got to the point where we just couldn't make headway with that easement, we went to the alternate route. And going to the alternate route, we took a step back because, you know, originally we weren't focusing on this aspect of it. We were focusing on the dome, we were focusing on the school. But by coming this alternate route, if we put this spare line in that same trench with the other two lines, then we could help, you know, develop property, commercial property on the north side of 52 east of the Waterkill, because there's several commercial properties in there. So and with the anticipation of the dome, I'm sure, development's going to come. So I think it was a wise investment, for the other $53,000 to put in that length of pipe, which we negotiated down to a very fair price because he was already mobilized on the job and wanted to do the work. And that's pretty much the long story of how we came about to putting that extra line in.
Well, thank you. And this, so people understand, this is a little forward-thinking. Our engineer, I have to thank him. The former supervisor always said how on Wednesdays, when we discuss projects and whatnot, a lot of ideas are thrown out. And this was one idea where this is perfect for economic development. We know that 52 corridor is going to be hopefully booming. That's our plan. And to expand upon that, you need sewer, you need water. And this was a perfect opportunity where we're doing the John Jay Sewer project in conjunction with the other sites, the Dome. And this was a perfect opportunity for us to run an empty spare line, and it was borne, by the district, the cost, and will be compensated when new people enter the district. And this is great because this affords us the opportunity to expand economic development down there. So I appreciate you and your forward thinking on that. So do I have a motion to approve the change order for John Jay Sewer project?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 10 is approved supervisor establishment of business and economic revitalization advisory committee. Okay, whereas the supervisor has proposed the establishment of a committee with members recommended by him to assist the town in stabilizing and expanding its tax base, and the proposed economic and business revitalization committee would assist the supervisor and town board in its economic development activities, and the goals and objectives of this committee are set forth on the attached mission statement. And the supervisor has secured a financial commitment from some of the current businesses to pay the cost of a part-time coordinator or director to provide assistance, as well as to further the goals of economic development. And whereas the town board endorses and adopts this concept, and now therefore be resolved that East Fishkill Economic and Business Revitalization Committee is hereby adopted and established as set forth on the attached mission statement. And any funds obtained for the support of the committee by the supervisor will be received by the town and appreciated for the sole use of the committee, and hereby establish a part-time position of coordinator of economic development for the town, which will be for not more than 17 hours a week and an annual salary of $24,000. That last paragraph I'm going to strike because we have not finished discussing who that will be. And do I have a motion to approve the establishment of the Business and Economic Revitalization Advisory Committee?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Now, the 24,000, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'll explain. As I discussed at our workshop, this is the intent of the town board. I've come up with this Business and Economic Revitalization Advisory Committee. I've asked several businesses in the town to contribute towards a part-time director position or coordinator position, which will help be a liaison between the town board and the committee, and give advice to the committee, help obtain grants and other funding sources. And I got a very good response. I actually have people calling to contribute even after I've collected over almost 29,000. So I'm happy, I'm very happy that this will be budget neutral for the town. We get another position in town that will help us. I think it's sorely needed, like I said at the workshop. We are looking to do economic development. Many towns are hiring economic development firms, advisory firms, and it costs them tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them. So I think that with the committee, we are putting the names forward. Councilman Marinaro and I have sat down to go over some of the names which we've been drafting together, and we'll still discuss with the town board about the coordinator position. And I think it's going to be excellent. It's going to be very, very good for the town. Other discussion?
How many, as far as the board and the thing, how many people are actually going to be on the board, and what's it going to consist of, the people?
So, if you looked here at my
For the people.
mission
For the people.
statement, okay, for the people, well, we put, I'd like to have 3 members of the business community, and I'd like to have a member from our planning board, and I'd like a member of our school board. And I'd like to propose now to even ask Ed Sloshower if he would like to sit on this board. I did speak to the candidates who ran for the town board seat, if they would help us, and they were all very happy to say yes. So I hope that he would join this committee. It's a very important committee for the town. I think that we're going to do a lot of good work, and also we're have a few committee members who aren't residents, so they would be advisory members, that they are either presidents or own large businesses in town that would like to help out the committee. So I'm thinking of a committee of 7 people, which will include myself and Councilman Marinaro.
Regarding the 24,000, is this like a subcontract, or is there benefits involved?
No benefits.
Okay.
Part-time.
Supervisor, what would happen to this position if we did not raise the funding next year?
Then the position, either we will have to vote to fund the position, or we don't have the position. So at that point, I would have to come back to the town board and request that we fund it if I'm short of allocating the funds, or we don't do it. Simple as that. Okay.
But right now, this is just to create the committee and
That's right.
start the ball
So then
rolling with that.
we'll have more discussion about the members and the coordinator.
Well, I would agree with the supervisor on Mr. Sloshower representing on this committee. I talked to him the other night, and I explained where I was going with my vote, and I consider him a friend. I've known him for a number of years, and I think he'll be a real asset on this committee, and I would hope that he would be on it.
So do I. So did I have a motion and a second, clerk? Yes. Okay, any other discussion? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the establishment of the Business and Economic Revitalization Advisory Committee?
So
Oh,
moved.
I'm sorry. We did have a motion.
We have
and
a
second.
motion,
Oh.
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. That'll do it for resolutions. Okay, budget transfers. We have a budget transfer, don't we, Comptroller?
Yes, Supervisor.
Okay, the board members received the budget transfers. Mark, you want to give a little explanation?
Sure. So this is actually for the fiscal year 2017.
Right.
We've still, up through a few days ago, we're still processing payments from 2017, so we now have what we think are basically our final numbers. A lot of this is just housekeeping, interdepartmental transfers. So one line in the first budget transfer is one line in the assessor's department was slightly overspent, another one was underspent, so we're just moving the money within the department. So that's the bulk of these budget transfers. There's a couple others that are a little different. In the finance office, for example, we had more bonding and auditing expenses this year than we had originally anticipated. When all those costs came in, we needed to fund that, but we funded that, from other expenditures that were underspent.
Okay, so it's your end of...
Comptroller's office overspent money? How'd that guy get by?
So this was your end of 2017 housekeeping,
Yes, sir.
right?
That guy usually watches the budget pretty good.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the budget transfers?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay, I have a quick question,
Yeah,
if we
sure.
may. So what exactly, as far as the numbers is concerned, what is it that we're transferring? I mean, what is?
It's a variety of individual transfers. As I said, mostly it's, it's department by department, different amounts. It's,
But as I said, it's mostly increasing one appropriation and decreasing another to fund it. I don't know if I answered your question, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get a ballpark figure if there is an increase in transfer or.
The only increases were with accompanied revenues. Like, for instance, there was additional police salaries, but it was funded by police grants that they were able to obtain. So there's no additional costs that weren't funded specifically for those purposes. And in fact, for the year, we had revenues, we had an operating surplus, so our revenues exceeded our expenditures for the year.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. There you go, Comptroller.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, no additions to the agenda. Town board member comments. Any board members wish to make some comments, please? Now is the time. Go ahead.
Again, I would like to thank everybody who, all the candidates that we had who came out for the process, and especially Mr. Sloshower, who, again, I talked to the other night and explained my vote, where I was going. And congratulate A.J. Bepan on the board. While all the candidates we interviewed for the town board are good quality people, I was strongly supporting A.J. for the appointment of this seat. A.J.'s appointment will bring fresh new ideas from a young man who is uniquely qualified in government on a state level, a county level, and a local level. He's a very hard worker who not only has multiple jobs, but is also in the process of getting his master's from Harvard University. He understands the issues that we all face, and he'll bring fresh new ideas from a younger generation's point of view. There are some who may question his age or lack of experience, but I would urge others not to be discriminatory of his age or his higher education. A.J. will certainly bring diversity to this board, which we have heard in the past that we lack. A.J. is bright and a terrific listener. He will help solve problems, not just point them out. If you talk to someone who knows this young man, they will tell you that the sky is the limit for him. For those who do not know A.J., you will soon enough, because he will become knocking at your door to introduce himself, and you will see what others are saying. I look forward to working with him and exchanging ideas that will help the East Fishkill community. Thank you, and congratulations.
Supervisor, if I may?
Sure.
I'm truly humbled and honored to have an opportunity to serve each of you and the town as a councilman for the remainder of this year. I know that this was not an easy process, and I'd really like to commend and thank Supervisor D'Alessandro and each member of the town board. It was a very intensive interview process, and tonight it made it that much harder for them to make their decision. I'm really looking forward to working with each board member here and moving forward from tonight. I'm very touched with the amount of support I have in the audience and throughout the town. I know a number of people had sent in letters on my behalf, and I will not forget that. I know I did not have an opportunity to come knocking on your door as Councilman Franco mentioned, but I will over the next coming weeks and months. But let me leave you with this point until then. I believe there's one quality that every public servant should have, and that is a strong ability to listen. So you can take this as my campaign promise or just my vow to you that I will be attentive to your needs, I will listen to you, and I will be available. Please do not hesitate to contact me via phone, email, text message, you name it, and I'll be there for you. Facebook, yes. I don't have Twitter, though, so you don't have to worry about any controversy coming from this position. But with that, I'd like to say thank you, and thank you to each of you for tonight.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilman?
So I want to welcome AJ on the board. Thank you for going through the process, and welcome. I have a few things that I want to mention about the police department, and I just want to say that on March 8th, a few things that our great police department, really great servants of the community, and some of the accomplishment and how they serve the community. So on March 8th at 2 p.m., police responded to a residential break-in and assault that occurred at residence in East Fishkill Plains. Officer Humphrey located a suspect by a restaurant nearby in a parking lot and took him into custody while the suspect was arrested. He was charged with burglary and criminal obstruction of break-in, and other charges were sent to the Dutchess County by the Judge Rumick. On March 12th, detectives arrested a Stormville woman and charged her with 3 residential burglaries in Cherry Lane and Leetown Road. She was sent to the Dutchess County Jail by Judge Rumick. On March 15th, Officer Chaparino and Nichols responded to a drug overdose on Tower Road. The victim was a 25-year-old male who was not breathing, and CPR was started. He was revived by the officer Chaparino and using Narcans, and was taken to a Poughkeepsie hospital where he survived. Again, I want to thank the great event that we had in the town this past week as far as the opioid and the great distress that they bring in our communities. The discussion will continue. I want to thank the chief really for being a great voice regarding that. That is to say that our police department is doing a great job. I want to thank them personally, and I want to thank you from all the residents in our community. Great job.
Thank you, Councilman. Deputy Supervisor?
All right, AJ, I want to remind you that next Saturday, we have a town cleanup day, rain or shine, right, Manny?
I guess.
Rains every year. Town cleanup next Saturday, March 31st, starting at 8:30 here in the town. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have the Easter egg hunt put on by Recreation and the East Fishkill Police Department. I'd like to file a complaint for the highway superintendent. The police department called him at 2 a.m. and woke him up when it hadn't snowed for 24 hours. I'd like to thank the highway guys for getting up, and they did a great job getting rid of all that snow and that nor'easter we had over the last 2 days.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Councilman. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Bepan on being on our town board, and I'd like to thank all the people who came forward and put their name in contention. We got a lot of great people. I'm very thankful. We're very blessed to have a lot of people dedicated to our town. I'd like to especially thank Mr. Ed Sloshower. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's done a great job on the school board. I think he's going to continue to help our town. I look forward to working with him. I hope he accepts our offer to sit on the economic board. And I'd like to thank all the people who wrote in and called, and it's appreciated. All your thoughts and what you say and what you do is important to the town. We like to hear you. We like I said, I strive that we be as transparent as we can. It's a hard job, and I'm happy that we have a community who cares. So if you ever need anything, please, if you need information, call my office, 221-4303. Like I said, if I don't have it, I'll get it for you. I'd like to wish everybody in the community a very happy and healthy Passover and a happy Easter. Be safe, enjoy the holidays, enjoy your family and friends. And you said the Easter egg hunt was 3:31, right? Bill Green will kill me if I make sure I don't say that. Okay. Community Center, it's...
We're going to serve food there. You going?
Yeah, of course. Okay, with that, our next town board meeting is our workshop, April 12th. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Thank you. Have a good night.
Like every meeting